there was going to be a different video out today. And I'll put that out later this week. It's a Euro rack module that I built. It's a mixer. It was a pretty cool piece that was given to me by a company, but we're not talking about that today. So I want to start off this video by saying I don't have the answers. That's not what I'm trying to do. I don't think that my perspective on this is the end-all, be-all. I'm also sort of kind of looking to have a discussion. If we want to talk about this in a civilized manner, we can in the comments down below. I always check my comments on my videos, and that's something I pride myself over. So if you want to discuss this, I'll jump in and give you my ideas and thoughts. But basically, I woke up to the news this morning that Keith Flint, the lead singer for Prodigy, some of my favorite music of all time, had taken his life over the weekend. And that kind of led me into a downward spiral of like kind of sadness and nostalgia. And it made me realize just how often this has begun to happen in the music community especially. It really ripped open a bunch of old wounds. I've had some of my friends kill themselves, musicians ironically, over the years, and I dealt with that at a very early age, and I've also thought about taking my own life at times, and so I don't consider myself an expert on suicide or suicidal tendencies, but this is something I have some hands-on, close personal experience with, so I want to talk about that today. So right off the bat, I know this video is going to be absolutely slammed in terms of demonetization, so I'm going to go ahead and just not even put ads on it. So this, in combination with something that my buddy Bill posted over the weekend on Twitter, and that tweet read, "Too often these days I hear producers talking about how they've found producing music to become more of a chore, and that it's becoming boring, and that it's not fun, and then not this fun and rewarding process for them anymore. Why do you think that is?" My response to that was, in my case, it was due to the fact that I was obsessing over making things, quote unquote, the right way first, instead of slipping into the creative space that I love. Now I do creativity in one session and polish/make it sound good in another, and I enjoy both more. And that still holds true. But in addition to that, I think it's fair to talk about some things that I believe are plaguing the industry, that are leading to musicians feeling like the only way out of this is to force quit life. I'm going to be real frank about things, and we're going to talk about death, and it's going to be weird. So stick around if you want to hear that. Let me go ahead and say this is part PSA and part discussing some societal problems, I think, in relation to music. And I'm not going to get into politics or anything because that's not my lane. So if you want some commentary on that, this probably isn't the video for you. This is just going to be me waxing poetic about some things I see wrong with the industry. That's all. Not an expert, just talking, just trying to get some things off my chest. In recent past, it seems like a lot of musicians, lead singers especially, for some reason, have been killing themselves. And it's not a new pattern. I mean, I think it's a traditionally musician romantic thing to do. And so the first thing I want to talk about is how unromantic being on the other side of somebody's suicide is. So this is going to be sort of dispelling the myth, and shows like what's that? 10 Reasons Why, 13 Reasons Why. One of the reasons I took issue with that show is that it sort of romanticizes suicide, and that's not something that is the truth. The first thing you need to know about suicide is that once you're dead for good. Once you're dead, and you're dead for good, and you don't get to watch other people lament your disappearance like on a TV screen or anything. You're fucking dead. You're dead. Your brain's not working. All of the chemicals that control your thoughts and perception slowly fade away, and then we put you in a box, and that box goes 6 feet underground, and that's the end of it, until that box is exhumed by nature or some other force. That is what happens to you when you are dead. When you are dead, you die, and you go into a box, and you're dead. Now, if you're a believer in the afterlife, which I happen to be, I still don't think that you get to sit around and watch your loved ones on a movie screen. That's not how it works. You need to do some research if you're a Christian. That's the only religion I can speak to on this. Is if you're a Christian and you believe that's the way it is, you should go reread Revelation and find out for yourself that you're wrong. The other thing the other thing about suicide is that once you're dead, all the shit that you were dealing with is now somebody else's problem. Just because you're dead doesn't mean all your bullshit is dead. A lot of the reasons that people kill themselves is because they're dealing with too much stress, anxiety, and bullshit. But that bullshit doesn't go away. You might have gone away, but those issues are still out there. Those bills still need to be paid. The debts need to be collected. That often falls on the families of the life taker. So when you take your life, just know that all your problems are going to be somebody else's problems. You're often going to find that it's just a shit idea. You're going to cause more pain than you would by being alive. I just haven't ever found an instance or heard of an instance where it's been worth it. So keep that in mind. Like just fucking try something else. Anything else before taking your own life. Or taking the lives of others. Don't harm yourself or others. So I think the biggest villain when it comes to needing to pick a big bad wolf, right? Because if we're going to talk about problems, then there has to be a source for those problems. It's inherent. So let's go ahead and say that money's the big bad wolf. All right, money's the villain here. And what I'm going to do is go through 5 or 6 reasons for why I think people are saying the music industry is, taking a downward turn, or why people have said they've lost their faith in music and that sort of thing. I'm going to go down that rabbit hole by painting money as the bad guy. And you know what? Fuck it. Since we're not monetizing anything, here's some Pink Floyd Money. There's a reason that song is powerful. Money is necessary in order for financial gain to happen, in order for transactions to occur. It's this currency. It's this thing. We all need it. We all, sort of can't live without it. And I know there's going to be some people in the comments who go, I've been living without money for years. Well, good for you. One of the biggest reasons why people might be losing their faith in the music industry, and if we can paint that term industry as a larger big bad wolf as well, corporate structures, when it comes to music, cheapen the craft because they're results driven instead of art driven, instead of being like culturally driven. It is results and success driven media industries that have cheapened music, meaning that they value streams and plays and likes and favorites and playlists over making good music. Are those two things mutually exclusive? Fuck no. Sometimes you get an artist that has an awesome sound and they become independently successful. Look at Chance the Rapper. Look at Kendrick Lamar to a degree. Okay, even though I understand he has signed. If you think about it, music being successful depends a lot on popularity. And popularity and marketing go hand in hand. So it's really a no-brainer. I'm not surprised it's turned out this way. There have been some smart dudes who have realized, there's some money to be made here, and we can use popular sounds to get money. That's all it is. So I'm not sitting here saying that the industry is the biggest, baddest wolf. It's really money when you think about it, because the industry's purpose is to make money. And that popularity is being monetized. Your attention is being monetized. All that leads to what appears to be a cheapening of musical craft, where there are people whose job it is as producers is to literally make the most popular sound, right? Pop producers. Again, not saying any of these people are inherently bad people. I'm just saying that the viewpoint of music for the sake of popular art, pop art, like that question of whether or not stripping craft and art away from an art form leads to people feeling like their craft has been cheapened. I can say that I've fallen into that pit hole before. Now I just kind of ignore it. That's something, ironically, that the Prodigy was trying to dismantle. They had a political message, fuck them and their law. They also had an industry-related message of this is music that goes against what has been traditional. And for that reason, it's incredibly ironic that we're having this discussion. I'm not out here trying to say that's the reason that Keith took his life, but and nobody can know that. And that's the other thing about suicide is whatever reason you have for killing yourself, nobody's going to fucking know because you're dead. You don't get a chance to explain it. You can write a suicide note, but even those are just like, fucking whatever, bro. Like, you're dead now. Like, at the very end of it, it's so futile. Anyway, we're not going back into that discussion. I just wanted to come back to it for a second. We've got this industry, this social media machine as well, this marketing arm of music. It's so ubiquitous and insidious in the way that it tries to popularize people and goes for fame and popularity over artistic merit. And I think that's another thing that musicians often get to a specific level and then become disillusioned with, is that music is not a meritocracy. And struggling to achieve that popularity, to bridge that popularity gap, can drive people to madness. When you think that you pour a lot of time into your craft and you make songs that you spend lots of time on this artwork, and then it gets released and doesn't achieve the same popularity that art you consider to be easier to make does. My How to Make series started out as that sort of a thing where I was like, okay, you all want to fucking see these shitty songs and how to make them. I'll make them in a day. Here's how you make this song. I can do it in a fucking day. See how easy it is. And it was partly a reaction to that exact feeling coming out of myself, where I was like, okay, I put a lot of effort into making music a certain way, and then somebody else, just kind of dicks off and gets, a top 10 hit. Post Malone. It drives me nuts. I like Post Malone's music. I enjoy listening to it. I'm not going to lie. You get a couple of glasses of whiskey in me, I'm going to listen to the entire Beer Bongs and Bentley's album cover to cover. It drives me mad that it apparently sounds easier than stuff like my buddy Mr. Bill spends hours and hours and hours editing his music. And I'm sitting here like, why is Post Malone more popular? Because he's feeding the machine. Because the machine has chosen Post Malone for some reason. Because he has a marketable face, or I don't know. But thinking about that, right? Stuck in that mindset of why is the harder craft not idolized, and why are these fuckboys idolized, right? Now, I can't hate on Post Malone's success. That's not what I'm trying to say here. I'm not out here trying to hate on another artist's success. But that's the mindset that I find myself getting stuck in, and I think that's the mindset a lot of artists find themselves getting stuck in. Is they play the comparison game, and they go, oh man, this person over here with music that is seemingly easier to make, having more success than I, who has art that is more difficult to produce and make, right? That mindset, that comparison is dangerous, and I think that getting stuck in that headspace will cheapen your own craft. So I think that's the spiral that a lot of producers are getting stuck in, going, shit, well, this isn't hard to make, but it's so successful, and all this music that I'm dumping my time and effort and energy into isn't as successful, so therefore I'm doing it wrong, or I'm lesser than, or I can't play the fame game, so I might as well quit. It's such a machine that we can all see the internal workings of, and it's so obvious that that's the way it works. Like you can pay for plays, you can pay to be part of a playlist on Spotify. It's illegal, but you can do it. Knowing that that's a possibility kind of kills it for me a little bit. But it also kind of makes me hungry, and this is where things get a bit lighter. Okay, thanks for sticking around here. We're getting lighter now. That's also where the sky kind of opens up. It makes me hungrier. It makes me go, you know what? If all these fuckboys are going to pay for plays, I'm not. Fuck that. And now we're going back to Keith Flint and Prodigy. Fuck them and their law and their way of doing things and the system and the industry. They can blow me. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not signing to a label. I'm not giving anybody ownership of my art, because the reason I make my art is because this whole situation makes me mad. So I'm in a really special position. I did chillwave for a long time as a reaction to how much angry music I put out in my early career, and I've since removed a lot of that because it wasn't well produced in my opinion. But my music has always been traditionally pretty upset and angry. And it's because I'm able to see the inherent hypocrisy in the industry and the system. And I'm able to see how pop art, for the purpose of success financially, for the purpose of playing a fame game, for the purpose of popularity, is inherently wrong. Because they sit up on stage and they pretend like they made this music because they wanted to do it, like it was some sort of a signal from their soul. And I'm sitting here like, tell me you didn't do it because you saw the allure of financial success, because you saw somebody else on Twitter flaunting a stack of Benjamins and you wanted that shit too. And there you are. Now you've got it. But that's all you've got. You don't have craft. You don't have art. All you've got is a bunch of paper and a bunch of idiots that are listening to your shit thinking that you're God and all you have is money. And I feel sorry for you. I really do. I'm not sitting here trying to signal virtue. And I'm not sitting here trying to say that every successful artist is a bad person. There's plenty of successful artists who are great fucking people. I am going to call it a day before I start to sound like an old dude. But I am almost 30. I do have a kid on the way. Maybe things are changing. Hey, I got an album coming out in a couple months. It's going to be fucking dope. In fact, I just paid for the artwork today. I have a whole bunch of friends that are going to be on it, and it's going to be pretty fucking angry. So prepare yourselves for that. It's a return to angry Gardner. Chillwave Gardner, Vaporwave Gardner is fucking dead. And that's going to be it for me. You guys have a good one. And if this was helpful, awesome. If this wasn't helpful, as always, go fuck.